I'm going to record the session just so that I can give it over to him later on in case he doesn't make it at all. So let's.
Maybe the easiest thing is to do is just to pull up the latest version of the app in the system, the application that you.
Okay.
Yeah. We can walk right on through it.
Let's do that. What's this window? Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. It's still loading, but yeah. Okay, there it is. Um, okay, so we are here to talk about the differences or the requested changes from reconciling the long form and the short form, and kind of overall what you want to accomplish with the grant request card, right? With the program grants.
Right. Really, just to have that single standard application. Now, this is separate. We're going to still have the separate RFP/expression of interest. That's separate.
That's a
This
separate
is
thing.
just a
Yeah.
single standard, right, application that primarily was based on the, what you had as the core um,
Right.
under that.
So
Yeah.
let me bring up what I had. I had the core program grants, which was a combination of the short form and the long form drilled down into one with some additional pieces to help toggle between whether it was a
Right.
initial grant or a continuation grant.
Right.
And then we had the short form. There it is, very, very top. The short form. The short form was originally conceived as a as a standard grant application, but something that Global could use for their grants. Um, and this toggle here is whether or not. Remember, we were talking about if it was a grant to an individual. That was I
Hmm.
put the toggle back on this component so you could see what we were talking about, right? But that in standard short form, that toggle was no longer there. I
Right.
just put that back for demonstration purposes, and
Gotcha.
then um, and then we had the lot. But this short form didn't accommodate the global or didn't accommodate the change initial grant. It accommodated the change continuation grant, right?
Okay. So I wonder if we can work from. Seems like you work. Can we work from the core? Um,
So, so just kind of in some, the question, the question as of Monday was we want to collapse everything back down to a single short form that accommodates change, global grants, and potentially intramural grants as well. And that you want to be able to have the additional details for the application be uploaded in a PDF to this form, to this grant that will be, and you will extract out those additional data points as you need them,
right. Correct.
right?
Right.
So looking back at this initial form, I guess the question becomes: do we start if we start from the core form?
Hmm.
What don't we need on the core form to make up to basically accommodate the change the change in the global initiation grants and the continuation grants for global?
So as, as 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 long as we accommodate that option, whether it's a new or a continuation, then really we're just looking for a very basic. In fact, a lot of what you already have in here um, is what we're looking for. Because as we started reviewing this yesterday, were you making updates to this yesterday?
Not to the core form. So I was making the updates
Okay.
to the opportunity request.
Oh, because I swear we saw some things changing as we were looking at it. But anyway, um, let's maybe go through this one then, this
Okay.
core, and then we can kind of see what we don't need.
Okay.
Um, I
So,
think,
so on the invitation key, do you
mm,
need this invitation key?
well, we would in the sense that I know some of the grants will be by private invitation. Well, actually, most of them probably will be, as opposed to just open competition.
So
But
all this field does is it is available to accept a data string that you send the grantee. We don't validate against it. We don't do anything with it. It's just there, so you can say, "Look, I sent you X key. Did you apply with X key?"
right, and I guess if you invite people and they don't provide that key or the correct keys, you can say, hey, I'm not going to review this until you give us the
Uh,
correct key or whatever.
yeah,
I
you
guess
can.
that's up to us to do,
Can, but
but
it's really an internal process, and we're not doing anything with it.
I
So I
got
know there was some questions about what is the key and where is it coming
I,
from and all of that kind
I
of
got
stuff. Well, I just want to make if you want to keep it, it's here. It's just a data point that you can enter. If you don't,
I got you. That's fine.
it
Yeah,
can
that's
be
fine.
taken off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quick question on the invitation key. We had that question earlier. Is it just whatever text we want to enter for that, or is it system generated, or?
No, it's not system generated. It's whatever text you want the grantee to enter. So in other words, you
Okay,
can send them an email, or you can use an external key generator, right? You can
true.
create use a key generator and say, look, this is just a valid set of keys for this grant program, and then you can send those keys out individually. So when the grantee comes in, you can then match that up to the application. But that's a manual process.
Okay. So this is just where they input it. If we are going to send it out, we just send it out via email and keep track of it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay. Great.
So existing grant ID um, is if this is a continuation grant, really.
Right. Correct. And
Um,
for our purposes, we kept thinking, well, what is that? What is that really?
well, you don't
Well,
really have grant IDs now, do you?
we don't, but what we do have, we have the I contract. All these grants is going to have a contract number.
Hmm.
We have that.
Would the
But
grantee know what the
would this be
contract
some
number is?
generated number in flux or something? What would that be?
Again, that's the same as the invitation key. If there's a number that's
Oh, I see.
associated with the grantee that the grantee knows, it's really for the grantee to basically say, "Hey, look, this is I want the
I got you.
collection of my grant from XYZ, and I think it's this one."
Yeah, that's probably going to have to be that would probably have to be our I contract a contract number. Um,
How would the grantee know the contract number, though?
it's on the contract that we give them.
Okay.
The only problem is if they got multiple awards with us. I'm trying to think. Are they going to be able to say they got some change grants and then they got an HPV sub award?
Hmm.
They would know one that they were trying to continue.
Yeah. Well,
It would
hopefully.
have to be based on that. If they don't, they probably don't need to keep it.
Right. They're gonna. Yeah. Somebody will have to kind of cross reference that and make sure that's the. Okay.
Do
But
you,
that's what I'm thinking. If this is just a number we come up with, the best number would be the contract I contract agreement number.
I agree. I think it should be a contract number.
Yeah.
And the question really becomes: Is it does the grantee know exactly the contract number that they're renewing on?
They should. I mean, it's on their.
every page of their contract.
Right, exactly. It's on every page of their contract. Um,
Okay, so existing field we want to keep. Existing grant ID field we want to keep.
right.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Open grant announcement list. This is a list of all of the published grant announcements that are on the system.
Right. And we had a question about that. That sort of relates to something that comes later on.
Okay.
I can ask it now, though, if you want.
Go ahead.
When you select that, you know how we have certain documents that the grantee will download and complete?
Yes.
By selecting a particular announcement, do those documents also get automatically selected for them to download, or is that something when they review the announcement itself?
This is something where they renew the announcement and they're saying, "Oh, this is the announcement that I want to apply to." It's not triggering anything else being loaded in the system or into this application.
Okay, got you. So when we get down further below, then we got some questions to ask you about then.
Okay.
Yeah, but if that's all that is, it's just telling them which one to select. Then okay. I mean, in and of itself, that's fine.
Okay.
So that yeah. And if it's private, meaning they were invited to submit, are they? It's not really an open grant announcement, then.
And what I would say is you would want to have a couple of additional grant announcement types. One would be a private grant invitation,
I see.
right? And then they would just select private grant invitation.
Okay.
These other ones are open. Either that, or you include open or invitation only in the list type.
Right.
That actually might be an easier way to determine
Right.
which one to apply for.
And then maybe the invitation ones, they have to enter maybe the key to then see them or something like that. I don't know.
Have to know that they are legitimately applying for something.
Right. Maybe they don't. Right. Exactly. Maybe they can open it, but they really, without a key, we're not going to review it. I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's. I'm thinking the best way to do that. Like, if you have open and private, can anyone open up the private announcements?
Well, anyone can select something that says private, right?
Okay.
But when you get it, you'll know it's private, and they've submitted to the wrong one, so you can just reject it.
I got you. That's true. Good point. Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is, the way you have it now, if you had open and private, is there going to be another drop down when they select open to select the actual open one they're applying for?
No. It's just we're just saying which one. I mean, this is keying to the name of the announcement that you want to basically that you want the grantees to apply for.
Correct.
Right. So you're generating that announcement, right? And then you're posting that announcement name in this list, and they're selecting from it. That's all we're doing.
Got you. So, but I guess I'm trying to think, where does the open private come in at? Where is that going to be in this form? So you saying you just have another option called private?
No, there's no. If this is a private grant, I would have a list. So right now I have unsolicited RFP.
Right.
Well, this Robbins Roach collaboration is a private or solicited one, right? So I would put private in front of that.
I got you. And then they would know, okay, they'd have to, assuming they have a key in order to apply for that. I got you. Right. Makes sense. Got you. Okay.
And so actually what we could do is we could switch these two around, these two fields around, and put the
Right.
list at the top and the
Right.
key underneath it, and
Okay.
then put a note here. If you select a private grant, add the key that you've been that was sent to you.
Correct.
It's not going to
Gotcha.
it's not going to stop them from submitting it, but if there's no key or there's an invalid key,
Right.
it just gives you the opportunity to reject it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Makes sense. Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Um, Application form type, core and extended. Core was basically the short form. Extended is the long form.
Yeah, we won't need that anymore.
You won't need this anymore.
Correct.
Initial request or continuation funding. Are you going to
So,
need this?
yeah, I assume we would still need that.
Pardon?
I assume we'll still need that because it might be it might be a continuation funding or it might be initial request.
Okay. If you have continuation funding, do you want this existing grant ID form field to show up?
Right. That's when it would show up. Correct. Exactly. That makes
Okay.
better sense than just
Flows
having it.
better.
Yeah, that flows better. If it's
So then let's put
continuation
the
funding,
existing
then
grant
it's in
ID
your
below the application type. If you select continuation funding, the existing grant ID field is exposed.
correct.
Okay.
I assume we'll need to if we're going to call it that name, we need to explain that that's your ACS contract grant agreement number or whatever.
And we can put a text element next to that that describes what that is.
Okay.
You can You can adjust the content of that text element.
Okay. Perfect.
Announcement lead. Change, global, or intramural.
Now, how how would the grantee know who the announcement lead was?
That should be in the guidance document that's generated, right? In this announcement guidance document here
Right.
that you're going to post.
Is there any way to automatically select? I mean, if you whichever one, if that's the case, whichever announcement they select, couldn't that be automatically populated?
No, it's not going to.
Uh,
Okay. There's another way to do that, right? And that
mhm.
is just to basically say we don't need the announcement lead, but that means that that these grant announcements
Mhm.
I was going to say that would mean that these grant announcements would basically determine which group it's going to. So that puts a bigger lift on internally, so that every new grant announcement that comes out, the internal user community is going to have to go and filter down and adjust their filters so that it has the right so that it includes that grant program, rather than just saying in the guidance, set the application announcement lead to intramural or set it to global. If you do that, you set it basically up front, and you tell them where you're going to send it in the guidance, and
I got you.
then you don't have to keep changing the filter.
Right. So, what about the only issue with that one then? How do we add in? What about the divisions who do grants?
We can add division to this list.
Okay, all the divisions. I'm trying
So
to
do
think
we
of it.
want to add in? Do we want to add? Do we want to change this list to something like cancer control, intramural, and divisions?
You
And then
could, but then how do we get
in
to the
global
specific?
underneath cancer control.
Yeah, that's the way. But Laquita's asking another question. That is in the next section. Does this next section highlighted in yellow? Does that affect? Are they related to the announcement leads?
They are not tied together. They they're not tied. They're not. The data is not tied together. The
Does the
information
grantee
is
fill this out?
information is related, but
But the grantee fills that out, or is that supposed to be
the grantee does not
internal?
fill this out.
So we need to move it then.
No. The reason it's at the top of the form is because when this gets submitted, this is the first thing that you're filling out. You're basically saying, "Oh, here's a
Oh,
grant." So the grantee doesn't see this piece, right? But it's a required field. And when the grantee fills out the form, they're just saying, "I think it's going to intramural. I think it's going to global," right? And yeah, we'll get rid of that one.
yeah. But
But
then we'll verify when we do our
But,
part. I
yeah,
see.
when you're looking at it, the first thing you're doing is you're saying, "Yep, this is global, and it's going to be NH core, and it's going to be assigned to um,
Whoever, right.
Manchester
Right.
Amy Manchester Harris, and
I see.
Kirsten's the second point of contact on it, and that's going to basically set up your ability for internal notifications and messaging."
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. I couldn't tell who was doing what. This was so close to that. So really, the only thing the grantee sees is that those few lines above.
No, they see these lines here, and then they see this stuff down here. Right? This is
Oh, okay.
basically just but this middle section is hidden. It's hidden from the grantee. It's just for the program staff.
Oh, okay. It's just the way you designed the form. It was no way of knowing that looking at this form. Put it that way.
Well, really,
Yeah,
even if the grantee doesn't do anything here, this is a guessing game for them. This is more important.
Yeah. Well, it does help though. I mean, assuming you give them instructions and tell them. For this grant,
We
here's the
can't tell
lead.
Laquita that well.
Oh, say she was saying we probably didn't really need the announcement lead if we're going to then do that other part. But you know,
We would just have to make sure that we are consistent in our instructions.
yes.
But it seems a little awkward to have a grantee filling that out. But we have it
You mean
as long as the
this part?
instructions. No, just the announcement lead, whether it's intramural, global, or change.
This part? Oh no, just this part. I see.
Correct. If we're gonna, but the way that it is now, if they do that, then we can just verify it when in the tan section.
Yeah.
The
So,
part
so
that they don't.
the real reason for this announcement lead is so that you can create a very simple filter on your internal cards, right?
right.
And so that when the grantee submits it, it's going to basically show up into, you know, I'm in global. I don't want to see all the divisions applications
Exactly.
or changes applications. I don't want to see them all. All I want to see are anybody that's submitting anything to my
Exactly.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. And maybe it's just weird calling it. It's almost like from the grantee's perspective, it's the unit they're applying to, but
Yeah,
announcement lead is.
but that's kind of what it is.
Right.
But
Exactly.
but I don't know what would be an appropriate
Exactly.
thing to
Yeah.
call it from the external.
Right. Got you.
And
Yeah.
then over time, if other areas start to do more, then over time we could add to that drop-down list if necessary.
Absolutely. And that's kind of why I'm thinking if we adjust this so we have the divisions on this
Yep.
list and we have cancer control on this list and
Correct.
we embed these global and change under cancer control, it's starting
Yep.
to look like your internal organization structure,
Absolutely.
and it's not
That'd
going
be perfect.
to confuse anyone.
Yep. That would be perfect if we set it up like that: divisions, cancer control, intramural, and then have the sub areas under each. In fact, technically, intramural has some sub areas, so we can give you those.
You can, but it probably doesn't need to be too. This list doesn't need to be too long because otherwise that was.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And we can, like you said, we can add to it later. So
Absolutely.
Okay. That's good that you explained. That's why that's highlighted yellow. I couldn't tell who the heck was filling that out, and that the grantee couldn't see that. I'm glad you
I mean,
clarified
I
that.
can put a note, like set the project to the ACS program area. I can add to that note that with a asterisk that says this section is completed by internal program staff
Right, and it's hidden from the grantee.
and
Yeah,
is hidden from the grantee.
yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we
The
go down.
grantee,
So
the grantee will fill out the name of their organization.
correct.
Um,
And they would have had to have registered in order even to do this part.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is a new application that they're completing, and they will have registered already in the system. They would have registered with their organization, their username, and their organization.
Gotcha.
Okay. The project title is, they can put in.
Whatever they put in is text, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, too many E's. So project title, project summary, amount requested.
Of course, the announcements could give instructions on that. If it's just a set amount, they should put that set amount in there, whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
And a due date is required. A start date is required. The end date is not required
Okay.
at this point,
So,
but they may as well add.
of all the fields we just went over that the grantee completes, so far the only required field is the start date?
No, the required fields, they have to fill in their organization.
Okay.
They have to fill in a project title. They have to fill in a
Right.
project summary. They have to fill in an amount requested and a start date. And they should fill in an end date too.
All the ones that are bolded.
Yeah, it looks like all the ones that are bolded, right. Except for the end date, right. Yeah.
Pardon?
Looks like all the fields that are bolded.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I tried to bold them all except the organization. You can't bold this because it's a system component. The way the system is built.
So, quick question, Richard. On that organization field, because we had talked yesterday about putting an asterisk after the end of all the field names instead of trying to bold them. We can't do this one, can we?
I would really prefer not to add an asterisk to the end of the name on things.
Gotcha.
And the reason is that it's this. I'm scared the system is going to think that it's code. Either on the name or, I mean, it's not going to think it's code in the label. But when you start pulling up, trying to generate reports, it's going to be looking for the. Yeah, it should look for the field name, but if you're trying to generate it off of a component heading, say, and you've got an asterisk in that component heading, then you have to start adding special characters to frame out to kind of get around that asterisk. I think it would be easier, quite frankly, in this case, to add a label above it with an asterisk that just says star. The following organization fields are required.
Okay. Does that seem reasonable to you, Knock and Laquita?
Yeah, I mean, because really,
Can't move forward without doing it anyway. I mean,
yeah,
you need to put that there.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if you even need to put it there. Only well, two things. One is first of all, once you put the organization, the other ones are tied to that, right?
Right.
Secondly, I mean, honestly, they could put an instruction in the announcement that says you're required to complete the organization field.
Yep.
If they don't, then the stuff doesn't get reviewed. But I guess I mean, if we wanted to, we could say. I mean, what would you have to put above organization? You said required. What would you say?
Just you could put a, so like right here, this is just a label.
Oh, I see. You put a
That
label.
label's it's not associated with any fields. So I could put a star at the beginning of this label that says, the following fields are required.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
I could do that right
Yeah,
above.
that's fine. We could do that then. That's fine. Yeah, we could say the following fields are required.
Okay.
Organization.
My concern, so I think we do need to do that, because remember when we were testing the budget level hierarchies and we couldn't figure out what was required and what wasn't, just because there isn't a consistent way to be able to label them. I do think it would be helpful to list the required fields.
Gotcha. Well, heck, could you just do that all the way at the top of the form? I mean, I don't know.
No,
I mean, maybe.
I can just nudge this down a little bit and add a text element right above it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's going to show up to them just like this in a section,
Yep.
you say that this following, section is required, then.
Yeah, I mean, and it ends right here, right?
Right.
These are the required fields to start, to initiate an application, right? And then the next section are the uploads. And so
now here's the question from earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Says only names really trickle over from the announcement cards to the drop-down list of open opportunities, then what goes here? Like, for example, now that we know for each quote-unquote announcement from Change, they're going to do their own PDF document. How are they going to get here?
So
as you said earlier, when we create announcements, we don't put attachments there that ultimately follow them over to this list.
Right. So what I've been able to do is create a hyperlink from these icons back to the where is it? Stop that. Bring up the grantee announcements page. Close that, and I can close this one too for the time being, and then I can get rid of this. So in this text box, or in this document component, which is not editable, unfortunately, from the front end, what I can do is I can right click on it, copy the link address, and then I can embed that link address in these data elements. So now when I'm clicking on this proposal, it's going to download it, the worksheet, this budget worksheet, to my desktop so I can fill it out and then upload it. Right?
Okay.
So what I would need to do would be to have, I need to have all of the specific worksheets loaded into this documents component. That's one, right? Secondly, if there's a difference between programs that you're applying for, in other words, if it's a change grant, we can have we can have group show hide conditions on these elements. So basically, if it's a change grant, you get this one, and this one. If it's a global grant, you get just this one and this one. And if it's an RFP, you get maybe just this one. You know what I mean? But so I'd need to basically use this mechanism inside a show hide group that's pointing to the correct uh, files in this document component. When I do that, I can drive the forms from within the form. Without that, I can't do that.
So, Richard, why not simplify it and just, if you already have the documents that are associated with the announcements, attached to the announcement that the grantee would see, they'll read the announcement, they'll see, oh, here are these templates or documents or whatever I have to complete and upload. Why not just give them instructions that says, when you fill out the application, there's a section to upload documents, to submit documents, and submit these. Here are the attachments you have to submit, and then when they get to that section, they submit them. I mean, I don't know. I'm just wondering how the whole linking thing is going to work. Is that something we're going to have to do in the future for every type of opportunity, every type of announcement?
So I think the answer is no. You're basically going to end up with, here's your announcement, here's your instructions for how you're going to have this grantee fill this stuff out. They're going to basically, and here's the information about complete the budget worksheet from the budget worksheet and program metrics. And then upload those attachments by clicking the green button. Blah 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 blah. Right? The question becomes, I need to have all of those templates loaded in here to begin with, and then I can point these back, this section back to these templates so that they can download them. But these templates can't change. They're set. If you do change the templates, then you need to redo the link.
That's the problem. Yeah.
The link
and then what about some grants? They may not use any templates. They may just tell somebody submit a proposal.
Yeah, but you're not going to be using this for subgrants.
No, not subgrants. I'm talking about even what if somebody issues a grant and they tell the person, we want you to submit a 10-page or less proposal.
They can do that on the expression of interest.
They could, but what if it's not based on an expression of interest? Is that anyway?
So hold on, now. Just let me kind of just go through think about the scenario that you just posed.
Okay.
You've got let's say let's talk about intramural, because we haven't talked about them at all, right? So intramural is going to issue an announcement for a new grant called skincare testing, right?
Okay.
They're going to load in they're going to generate their announcement guidance. They're going to load the guidance in here. The guidance is going to say, you need to fill out budget worksheet 1. You need to fill out a full proposal, and here's the proposal template. Right? So the proposal template and the budget worksheet 1 will be in here. On the application form, right, we'll have a version of this that says fill out their instructions say fill out your proposal and your budget worksheet, and it doesn't say anything about program metrics. When you upload these documents, none of these are required documents, right? You can submit the application without these documents. You're going to reject it saying you need to add the attachments. But that way it leaves you with an open, flexible application that you can basically say, hey, attach the following worksheets and resubmit.
So are you saying that you could do it both ways? Meaning, let's take that same example. Intramural issues are not RP, but they issued a grant for skin testing.
Okay.
And let's say they're not asking anybody to do a budget worksheet. They just say, submit us a budget. I don't care, in Excel, Word, I don't care what it is. Just, here's a budget. We're going to give you $50,000, give us a budget.
Yep.
Line item with these line items, whatever the instructions are. But you don't have to use a budget worksheet.
You don't have to use the budget worksheet.
They can just upload their documents right here.
Yep.
And they wouldn't get confused by that budget worksheet sitting there, since we didn't ask them to do
We're
one.
just saying that these are templates.
Okay.
Your guidance is going to say you don't have to follow the template.
I got you. Okay. Got you. So it's only when you have these templates that you got to link them to these areas.
You've got to link them back to these individual documents, which are which are available to the grantee.
Gotcha.
To the
app. Let's talk through a change scenario, because we know that they're going to have their proposal in a document, in a PDF, fillable PDF, that the grantee will need to download, whether it gets sent to them via email. However that happens, they're going to have that. So does it make sense for it to be available over here as a template to download, or does it make sense for, what is the best way for that to happen?
From the grantee perspective, right? What the grantee, in fact, let's just go to the grantee side and see what they see, so we can log out and log back in. Let's log in as a grantee. From the grantee side of the house, they can see this announcements card, right? They can click on this grant application and initiate a new grant. They can also see the announcements worksheets and the guidance documents that are available. So these are current guidance documents and the templates, right? So they click on the grant. So the idea basically is that they can download these documents, right, and then read through them, and then follow the directions.
How do you know which templates are associated with which announcements?
Which templates are associated with which announcements? So in your guidance document, right, when you're creating the guidance document, you should say, for this particular proposal or application, we require the following templates be completed and uploaded.
And you just have to have a bunch, because what if one group wants one type of budget worksheet, another group wants another type of budget worksheet?
Right.
So just have a bunch of templates down there?
I would say you could have a bunch of templates down here that are so what I would say is this: you would have a bunch of templates in. We could almost have a secondary templates container.
Yes, that's what I was getting to. I feel like you should have announcements, right? If you're going to have templates, they'd be in a separate container or whatever you're going to call it.
Right. So we could work with having a second documents container. And that second documents container would just house templates, right?
Gotcha.
But the actual announcement, the actual guidance document should have instructions on, for this requirement, you need to have a budget worksheet, you need to have a proposal, and use the following templates.
Gotcha. So
right?
we have to have a naming convention for the templates, and you can instruct them which templates to use in the guidance document.
Right. We can't have them. We can't have the links for those templates in this Word document, but we can have them on the grant application. right? So this is what the grantee's not going to see this because I've got admin rights, but they don't see this section. They see this. They see this section, and they'll see this, right? So then when they click on this, it's going to download it directly from the previous card,
Right.
right? But what I'm saying we can do is we can have maybe if the templates aren't the same, right? If we use different templates in different groups, then we would need to have a way of loading which view is appropriate for which group. So in other words, this becomes probably more
Important.
more not more useful, but more important,
yeah.
right? So if it's a change grant, see how this division showed up,
Right.
right? So now what we would do is we would have the same thing. This would change to a different set of requirements of templates to be loaded.
Problem is, I wonder that same group might have different grants that use different sets of templates. Then it really gets complicated. And I guess what I'm saying is,
how many templates do you have?
well, I don't know, but you know how these folks are. I guess what I'm saying is that's one. What you just described is one way to do it, but I'm always thinking standard and simple.
Okay.
So if you already have the container on the announcements, where the grantee can see that, couldn't they just download it from there and just attach it like any other attachment?
Absolutely. But when we were in the work through meeting last week, both Janelle and Jackie said, well, what we really want to happen is we want, when they're on the application, we want them to be able to get to the specific templates that are associated with this application.
And that's nice. If assuming then like you said, the folks got to kind of keep it simple. Then, sort of like you said, each group has a set of templates, but
that don't change.
That don't
are
change.
Stay the same, and we know that's not going to happen for change because theirs will change every time they do a submission.
You know, I mean, if we can make this work, that sounds nice. I guess in the end, in some sense, you could always, because you have that other option, you could always attach a document here. They could always download it from the container on the announcement, and if somehow this became too convoluted,
if there's a new attachment, they can do. You know what we could do? We could say, okay, there's basically one set of worksheets for change, one set of worksheets, one set of templates for change, one set of templates for global, one set of templates for intramural, or the standard templates, right? And then no templates. So if you selected at the top, you just say, oh, no, we're not going to use any templates on this grant, and that's what we've been instructed to do. Well, then this would just disappear. You put in whatever you want.
Yeah, right.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. I like that option. But where are you going to put that to select no templates?
So that probably would replace this. No, not this one. Application form type. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You might want to basically say, look, what type of, so as part of your application announcement, you're saying, you know, what types of templates are required for this delivery. No templates, core templates, or change templates, global templates number 1, global templates number 5, change templates number 15.
Well, why do that? I mean, why not? You said the announcement lead could determine the templates, but maybe that other one, application form type, could just be, well, then that would conflict with that, though. that wouldn't work. You're right. That wouldn't work. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That just seems convoluted for the grantee to figure
The
out.
grantee's got to basically set something, and but the other part of this is, you know what? Realistically, the grantee can upload whatever they want because we're not requiring specific documents, and we're not requiring specific document types.
Right, right.
Right?
I would think.
If they
Well,
upload the
I would
wrong
think.
ones, you send it, you kick it back to them saying this is the wrong template. Please use the
Right.
appropriate template.
Yeah. I wouldn't bother telling them to select that. I would just, if we're gonna maybe tie something to the announcement lead, maybe. Other than that, the announcement itself should dictate. The rules should dictate what they need to do.
Yeah.
And if we tell them to use certain templates and click
You
on
need to make sure
in the
those
application,
templates are.
right?
You just need to make sure the templates are in this templates guide. That's all.
Exactly, exactly. That's all. We have a templates bin. That's all. And frankly, if they have a problem, they could, they could still just upload it.
Yep.
And it'll be there. If they have a problem with the download, it's not. If something we didn't do right, we just tell them, just fill it out and download it and attach it.
Yep.
So yeah, I wouldn't bother having them trying to choose which one and all that stuff.
Okay. So from an applicant perspective, I think we're okay here. We know kind of what we would need to do here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't show up for the applicant. This does show up for the applicant. We know we need to make a couple modifications here.
Correct.
We know we need to make a couple modifications on this upload instructions with the templates in them.
Correct.
Are there modifications that we need to make on the documents component itself? Or is that's pretty standard?
No, that's just an attachment. That's fine. Yeah, that's easy. I like that. Yeah, that's easy.
What
What is
about
this?
project detail clarifications?
Yeah, was there a workflow that drives this question?
Is there workflow?
I'm assuming since it's colored that this doesn't show up for the grantee.
This doesn't show up for the grant. It does show up for the grantee after it's been when it's been either change requested or sent back to them. It's not going to show up, and it shouldn't show up when the application is in draft, which is the.
So is this like designed upon initial review? We see some problems. We want you to change this or that or something.
Yep.
Okay. I see. And then if you filled it out, say if you put test or test, what happens? When the person saves it, it sends a communication to the grantee or something? I mean.
So if I'm on the inside, right?
That's right, you're not on the inside.
If I'm on the inside, I'm going to fill this out with some, please return the project worksheet.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Guys, I got to drop, and I will dial back in when I get in my car. Give me about 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, okay.
No problem.
We'll wrap it up.
All right, so then please return the budget worksheet by November 20th, whatever, right? And then I hit save on the internal side. This is going to basically save as a note to the grant that the grantee can then see.
I got you.
If I have clarification questions, right? If they submit it in, I can also add clarification questions to this.
I got you.
And then the grantee can answer those specific questions underneath.
I like it. Okay, perfect. Gotcha.
So that's the initial part of the application. So on this part of the form, which is the review process, there's going to be there are going to be some additional modifications required, because you have on the change process, this is going back to the divisions first, and so so you want the which is why we had the application as
Right.
extended. When you hit save, then the PL1 or PL3 and 4 section comes up. The division section comes up. Now let's save it and show you what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I mean, I think, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So I don't. Yeah,
So
I think we just need to.
I'm assuming that section needs to stay, but then probably needs to not be hidden from. Well, it won't be hidden from the. It won't be hidden. It won't be hidden on this form. It'll just be one form.
Okay, but what? I mean, obviously the grantee doesn't see the review process, right?
No.
Okay, all right.
So let me go out and so we've got through the grantees side of the application.
Did.
Let's
Correct.
go back in on the inside.
Okay.
Let me actually just fill this out so that we have something to work with. Actually,
Richard, this is Bobby. I'm gonna have to step out of this meeting. I have a conflict starting at 4.
All right, Bob.
But I'll step back in as soon as I can.
Okay. Let's save. Here's the extended initial request. I'm going to start. Submit. So what we need is the PL1 stuff, which is going to be got an extended and initial request. Let's trying to open up the other part of the form that has the so this part of the form, Narc, just so you know, is only available when the request is in new. After that, this becomes read only, and so that you're not potentially adjusting the form type all the time.
Gotcha. we're doing away with the form type anyway. So
Yeah, that's true. We are. What? Oh, okay. It's still hidden from us. Okay. At this point, we need to have the program lead level 3, the division, working in concert with the applicant, so that they can.
well, can you show the? Didn't you have a review? So you didn't have like a peer review built out under the regular core form?
Under the regular core form.
I mean, you right now you got extended selected.
Yeah. So I have peer review, preliminary review under that section, and then this is really where the peer review gets done with reviewers.
Oh, I see.
Right. What we're talking about is the division review.
So let's skip over all of that. Let's assume. I mean, again, that part of the review may change how it's done. Let's just assume this is let's assume this is global intramural.
Okay.
They would still have this.
They would see program lead level 2 data point to
do their initial assessment of the application.
Yes.
And of course, they can obviously, if they wanted a peer review, they click that button below. If they didn't want it, they just skip over that altogether.
So if they basically they're going to give their initial preliminary review of the application. They're going to come down here and they're going to provide their comments. It's appropriate and incomplete. We're going to send it back to the grantee. Here's our preliminary review comments. And if there's a cancer focus, this cancer focus, that was change specific.
Yeah, so we want to update that.
Okay.
Now, is this part of what is going to be on the PDF, or is that something that will stay on this form?
It can stay here, just that we need to make it applicable to other areas. So we need to broaden it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So who has that list of cancer focus areas that it's going to be broadened to?
We can send it to you. We can email it to you.
Okay.
Do you have it, Knock?
Yes.
We could tell you now if you want to know.
Yeah.
If you want to know now.
Can you run it through real quick just so I can document it?
Okay. Do you have it on your questions?
It's breast
cancer,
cervical, colorectal, lungs, skin.
What was skin? Okay.
Lung and skin.
Other.
And other. I know general.
General, and then we also need one that says breast and cervical, which is already there.
Right, and that's change specific.
Now, why would you need that if you got breast and cervical? Can't you select both?
No, it's a one. You can only select one.
It's not a multi-select?
Correct.
It's a single select. It's a radio button.
Oh, can you make it a multi-select?
We could change the field type. But does that work for change? I don't know.
Well, then the person would select breast and cervical, right? Wouldn't they?
Yeah, but the question is, how does that data get transformed when it goes into their other systems?
This is Well, in that case, I wonder if we should move that on one of the PDF forms. Then.
Right, because their significant data points are going to be in their fillable PDF.
Right.
So if this is important for that, then we really don't need it here since it's going to be someplace else.
Right.
Yeah, and it's something that they capture.
Right. Then they can capture it however they want to capture it. And other groups can capture it however they want to capture it.
Right.
So the only point to this, though, is if there are categories that are at a enterprise level that
Mm-hmm.
that you would want to do some kind of cumulative reporting on, you should
Right.
probably put it here. If you don't need, if it's just data that changes reporting on, and it's change specific program, it could go into the form quite easily.
Right.
But if you want to
So,
know, if you kind of want to load up, like, well, how many grant programs really do we have that deal with breast cancer and skin cancer, then you would want, this focus area on the form. Otherwise, you have to go data mining in the data warehouse for it.
the issue with that is, I imagine there are other areas that might combine things too, and we don't know all the combinations. That's why I was thinking just have multi-select radio buttons. But I guess first and foremost, we have to think from an enterprise level, do we even want that there? Because if this was something change specifically requested.
It was specifically put there for change because they wanted to have this data point show up on the review forms.
Right. Well, then they can do that on their.
Well, so is this data point going to get assigned to the review forms at this point? Right? Because the next section is reviews. So if it's a change grant, you're basically adding a state that the review is going to, we'll say pending internal review. It's the state we're in now. We're going to add a reviewer, and we're going to not use a review group, but we'll add a review theme, right? And then that will generate that'll generate that review. Well, what they wanted this cancer focus area to be one of the data points that showed up on the review when the reviewer opens up the review card.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Maybe we need to think. I mean, I know that if we're gonna have it there at all, no sense of just doing it for change. We want to do it for others. And I guess the question is, do we want to add those other areas?
To me, it makes sense to add it out to everywhere, right? And then if you use that review form, so change will select just the pieces that they want for their review form, and then those data points will show up.
Okay.
Because we have a change specific review form with the additional category with the weighted scores, they're just using the change review form when that's occurring, right? So that's going to show up a specific way. On the other review form, the standard basic review form, it's not going to use those data points. But then you also have the data points for enterprise level sorting.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that one, maybe we can change that up. Because, right, so evidently you have up to change specific review form right up now then.
Well, the change, it's not open right this second, but basically we just created one, right?
Okay. So I guess we could just give you the other additional categories to add to that list then.
Right, see, cancer focus.
Right.
That was one of the areas that they wanted to show up here.
Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know I was back on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I got you. So, okay. All right. So we can just maybe update that list.
Okay.
All right.
So on the review side, in the preliminary review side, we're okay here. We've ACS. This is instructions for setting up a peer review. This is the cancer focus area, and we're going to get an additional list of data points added to this cancer focus area, and we're going to change it to a group of checkboxes, a multi-select, rather than single radio buttons. The reviewers, adding the reviewers and the reviewer state, that doesn't change. We still have the two specific themes.
Okay.
The final review score is just a calculate. It's not a calculated score. It's a number that you're going to calculate based on your consensus. You're going to add.
Is that under both? Is that under both themes?
I'm sorry.
Is that under the change and the non-change review theme?
Yes.
Okay, there would be scores. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So whether or not you have, you can basically put in, your review score is 50, or you can say, our review score is out of 100, but it's basically just a text box at this point.
I got you. Okay.
And then comments going along with it. And then you're going into a funding assessment, fund with modifications, fund as is, do not fund.
So let me ask you, that review comments, that's a summary of the reviewer's comments?
This review comments is a consensus. It's a place to write in the consensus comments.
Got you.
After you've had a meeting with your review team about what occurred on that applicant's review.
Got you.
And this also makes a way that if you want to in future create an email that goes back to the grantee that says, look, your review looks like this. You can use this field as the consensus review, as the data that goes back to the reviewer, rather than the individual reviewer comments.
Okay, got you. Makes sense. Okay.
So award decision is straightforward. The decision comments, basically that's just a narrative. And then notes are, notes are basically, when you make changes to the workflow states. After that, then you get into project setup. And that is defining what the project goal is, what the objective is. Remember, this was there where we had the objective. We have objective and steps. So we're going to put in objective and steps to complete the task. So we changed this from that embedded card, which had which was too confusing. Remember?
The smart objectives.
Pardon?
Was that the smart objectives card?
Yeah, that was the smart objectives card. We got rid of it. Then we go to programmatic coding, where we have these tactics and methods.
Was this a change-specific request?
This is definitely change, right? So is this information going to still be here?
No, I mean, again, we're trying to make this sort of standard. I guess assuming they can collect that off of that, if they needed something that the grantee to complete, they can do it off of their PDF. We just want to, I think we want to, again, make this as much as possible standard across the board.
So, sounds like.
What was this? I don't even know what was this
right.
to do?
I think it was just really part of the way that they were collecting data on their program and tagging data into this. I mean, it was part of their application form.
Yeah, they have it in the spreadsheet. The data that we were migrating is kind of a how they're doing the organizing or how they're doing the program or the grant.
Right.
So it's definitely change related.
Question is, do we need it? Do we need it on the form, or is it going in the PDF?
That's contagious, Richard.
Oh,
I know.
I'm sorry, guys.
I would think it would go on the PDF.
Yeah, I would think so
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. So population type, that's the population of focus. Is that also going to be part of the application, or is it going to be part of the PDF?
Can you scroll down a little bit, please?
Scroll down, sure.
Oh, is there not?
Yeah,
So we used to have intervention types and all that, but that's all on the initial grant. The core grant was built originally for continuation grants, not initial. And what are we looking at now? We've got core continuation grants, so this should be.
It doesn't look like it's editable.
Oh, population type isn't editable here. It used to be selected by the grantee at the top of the form. Why isn't it?
So that went away.
It's gone away now.
Mhm.
I don't know why. So that was the population of focus.
I would think that would be on their PDF.
Okay. Yeah, see this population of focus here? It's this stuff. So is all of this now on the in their PDF? Project details, current goals, population of focus, prior year. So this is a continuation.
Mhm. I believe that all of these things here that were very change specific, I think these are all of the items that they would now have on their PDF.
Okay.
So that, as they need to change things, it's much easier for them to change them on their PDF than for such changes to happen in Flux.
Sure. Okay.
So really, they have a little bit more flexibility
Gives
doing it this way.
them a lot of flexibility. Yeah.
Mhm.
So back to this section of the form then. Objectives, programmatic coding. Does it just go away?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Knock, I just want to make sure that for the meeting on Friday that Jonelle, she is okay with this PDF. I know I saw her on the email, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I understood it. That we're just going to have a standard application form, and the stuff that we had that was specific for them, they would collect on their PDF, on the PDF form.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
do we know? I'm sorry, I missed that. So do we know what's going to be on their PDF form yet?
Well, I guess theoretically, it could be whatever they want it to be. I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, our
Well,
purpose is
I
we
think
get it.
not part of the question is, do we know what we don't want on the flux form?
Yes, that's a better way of asking it.
Yeah, I mean, I assume if we take all this stuff off, it's whatever's left is what we want on the form.
So
So
would
now the only
tactically,
problem is the only challenge is what they're putting on the PDF form is what they want to collect from the grantee. I suspect they'd have a different part of the form that they fill in themselves, just like they're filling it in here. Because this part right here is part of the project setup. The grantee's not doing this.
correct,
The internal person's doing this, right?
correct.
So
I don't think it would hurt if it stayed. I mean, if this isn't required, is it? Is this
No, it's not
filling
required.
this piece out required?
It's not required.
okay, so Laquita said it may not hurt to keep it there because if it's not required, then they'd be the only ones using it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was just trying to again, we had thought about the front part of the form that the grantee did, but then there's the back part to set it up,
Right.
and the implications of that if you remove stuff.
Right.
But again, I'm just, is this so they asked for this? They asked for this thing called tactics and methods?
Yep.
That's weird. Okay.
Does it mess up the flow of everything else that we have discussed if if everything else from this point on down stayed the same, or if we change it, does it affect what we've already discussed in the last hour or so? So if we left some of these setup options there, would that push you back to having to have a core and an extended? Maybe that's the better way of asking it.
You still there, Richard? Tristan, you
Sorry,
there?
I put you on
I'm
mute.
here. Richard,
I
are
put
you
myself on mute.
Oh, okay.
Why can't they hear me? I'm just looking down. I don't see anywhere else that is collapsing based on the.
Because if it doesn't affect anything, and not Kirsten, Kanita, I'm just putting the opinion out there. I don't want to handicap them on the setup side because you made a valid point, Knock, that their PDF form is probably going to be the application for the grantee themselves.
Well, part of it. I mean,
Right.
that's one of the documents they want completed by the grantee.
Right.
Right. But that doesn't impact the setup.
So, and I think that's a very good differentiation or distinction, I guess. But what is it then that we're going to capture on the front from the applicant?
Primarily, we're going to capture the worksheets.
Well, I think she's referring primarily like what would they capture in that PDF?
Yeah, that's not going to be on the form because I'm trying to take notes here and I only have a couple of things.
So, maybe information about, I don't know, interventions, or they have targets. As soon as they apply, they have certain targets they want them to see where they are with breast screenings. How many, breast screenings have you done in the last year? I don't know, stuff like that, Right from
So
that's an application factor,
Let's just take
Yeah,
a look,
now it,
a quick look at the long
The
form,
long form, right, exactly.
right?
Yeah,
That's all this screening information.
exactly.
right.
All of that. Yep.
Um,
Now, surely those things should be on their PDF
Correct.
yep.
because from what
Um,
I understand, even some of those
Awesome.
change from
This
time to time.
so this is where the divisions were getting involved, right up front when the divisions were reviewing it. Then it's going down to this program lead level 2 review, and then here's the reviewer setup with the cancer focus, funding assessments, award decisions, project setup, project planning, objectives and coding, tactics and methods, target audience,
Right. All that stuff.
and then the rest of this I think is the same. Although we did take this communications piece out.
Hmm.
Yeah, the rest of that is then the same.
Yeah, and those all seem to be data points that ultimately go into their monitoring report that is happening someplace outside of Flux.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it is, look, my vote is to remove everything that's change specific and let them handle that in their PDF.
Including on the back end, though, the project setup. I mean, if we said we're going to make a standard application,
Right.
that would seem to suggest it for both the front end and the back end. Unless somehow we can see some of these other programs using this stuff on the
So
project setup.
the other part of that was on their short form. There, they had like in project setup, they had the implementation plans. How has this application changed since the last time, since last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not there. It should be in this project summary. They had like how's the project changed since last year? Although I guess maybe that was done as part of the application.
Yeah, so it's quite a bit of stuff that will be moved out of here, Kirsten. It's on that long form.
Okay.
Okay, so can I ask, I'm sorry, the core grant application did not have a lot of those fields that are on the long form. So there's really not a lot to remove from the core form, correct?
There's not a lot to move. Well, so the
That would have been if you had
the
selected an
application,
initial.
the way the form was configured was set as core, right? If we set this form as extended, we'd have all those other bits.
Oh,
So we have to remove all of the extended bits off of this form.
Right.
okay, so
All right. So if we go back to new, save.
because we're removing the application type field though, that will get rid of it. Is that
No, we have to actually remove the form elements from the form. Which right now
right?
we're just hiding everything because we don't want to see it because we've set the form as core, right?
Right.
The
So,
actual
but
form
because
has all of the pieces on it.
yes, I get that. But I was just thinking that because we're removing that application type, we no longer need those extended sections, so we'll just remove them.
Yes.
I'm just putting it into my own layman's terms.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I got about a hard stop in a couple of minutes.
All
I have
right.
to get out of here.
You catch your bus. So I'm going to make a recommendation, and that is that I take this core form based on what we've discussed, and I build a one-page wireframe of this form, and I'll put it on a wireframe model, right? And then we can go through that again, and we can come to consensus that that is what the change is, and then we can generate that off as a spec for this form, and then you guys can sign off on that one spec, and then we'll make those adjustments.
Okay, that's fine.
So the wireframe will have the changes in it, Richard, and then we'll review that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that I will make a form, a single form in a wireframe that represents the new application form, and it will be based on the discussions that we had today. We can review that again, come to consensus, make sure we're okay. You can approve that, and then that will become the approved spec for what we're going to build.
Okay.
So when do you think you will be able to have that wireframe? I just want to go ahead and be able to, start looking at calendar.
I'm going to try and get it done tonight and tomorrow. I mean, it's already 4:30.
So maybe Friday or Monday.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get it done by Friday. I'm hoping by Friday I should have that have it done, and then
So we should look at the review for like Monday or Tuesday. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
Get it done on Friday.
if we can let's see where we're at tomorrow. Maybe we can review it on Friday. I really want to. I want to make sure that I want to move as quickly as we can, but I want to make sure that we have it. We don't lose too much time, but I want to make sure that we have a good spec. So I will work on this. I'll work on the wireframe a little bit more tonight, and then tomorrow, and then maybe we can review it on Friday.
Okay.
So can I, in taking my notes here, can I just make sure I've captured everything correctly, and I can do it pretty quickly. I have a yellow section. In the yellow section, we're going to add some text to the top. This is completed by internal staff only and is not visible to grantee. I have we're going to add a text section to the top of the form that lists the required fields. I have a possible secondary documents container for the external portal. Is that still in the works, or did we just?
I think it on the announcements card.
On the announcements card, yeah.
Yeah, on the announcements card, we want to have a secondary documents component specifically for templates.
Got it. Okay. And then I have a possible extended fields will go away when we remove the application form type field. That's just kind of a question. I have the updated cancer focus values: breast, cervical, breast and cervical, colorectal, lung, skin in general. And then I have Richard will put the simple form on a wireframe, and then we'll review it, sign off. And then a question just to answer down the road, maybe when you get the wireframe done, is to remove whether or not to remove the project setup items and moving them to the PDF or leaving them on the form. Did I miss anything?
The tactics and methods, right?
Yeah, that and
okay.
Some of the other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. I do need those templates though.
Okay, and Richard.
I need to know how many templates we're going to be using.
How many potentially, and what type? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
Sounds Sounds right.
Okay, I'll send them out too.
Okay.
Okay, I'm headed out, so yeah, whatever. Y'all just send me updates. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, Knock.
Okay.
Thank you.
One last question, Richard. I have one last question for you.
Shoot.
So if we connect and we agree on all the changes and there's no other changes to be made, those changes that are, how long do you think it would take you to get those done?
I got no idea. Like, to be honest, right now I've got no. I'm still trying to comprehend the scope of the changes, and what my approach is to resolving those, and um, and I need to have a conversation with Bobby, to figure out like when all this needs to get done by, or how it's going to get done. Um, I can't give you something. I can't give you an estimate off the top of my head.
Just I would ask.
You just thought you put me on the spot? Thanks, buddy.
Cruel. No.
You're so good with answers. I just figured you had one.
I mean, I'll try to get it done as soon as I can, but I need to figure out from Bobby and like Nikki, kind of like we need to brief them on what the scope of the changes are and what the spec is, and then I need to have a conversation with Nikki as to like, are we still completely within scope? Are we? What are we doing? Right. So that's a conversation on our side internally, and I'm sure Bobby will be talking back to you.
Okay.
Our objective, my objective, is to get this wrapped up as soon as possible. When do you think I can get an answer on the templates?
I will think that. Oh, do you want? Sorry, Kanita, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I can take it as an action item. I'm assuming that I would need to ask all three of the groups, well, mostly global and change, about what templates they may have. So we're looking for budget templates, project plans.
Is a project plan a template that would be on here?
I don't know. I was thinking program metrics.
Okay.
I don't. Can you go back to the list that you had? Oh, there it is, right there. It's on the screen. I'm sorry. So budget worksheet, tracker. What are those PDF forms that you have there called?
Oh,
like
these?
Cancer Cure Tracker.
No.
Cancer...
These are the actual announcements, right?
Okay,
this one, and this one, and this one are the actual announcements. That's not the. Those aren't the worksheets.
Okay.
The XLS on the bottom is the only worksheet that I loaded in so that I could prove that I could get to it from the other card.
Okay, so but we're looking for budget worksheets, proposal templates. Is that a way to say that? I just want to make sure I'm wording it correctly.
If there is a proposal template or a project plan template that you want them to follow.
Okay. And then the third one where you have the program metrics.
Yeah.
Is that another template?
Yeah, I mean originally there were two specific documents that were required. One was budget worksheet and the other one was program metrics. I think the program metrics one was a change requirement.
Okay.
So there's these three. And now there's the proposal that was kind of thrown out there too. But I don't know if if collectively the proposal, the budget worksheet, and the program metrics make up the three elements of a complete proposal submission.
Or if there's others. Okay.
Or if there are others, or if they're on the RFP side, there may be others as well.
Okay, so what I have is program metrics, and then I have in parentheses change with the question mark, project plan or proposal templates, budget templates. Are there other templates needed? And on the RFP side, are there others?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's a little vague, but it'll work.
Okay.
And that's on the announcement card as well,
Well,
correct?
so that they will end up floating on the announcement card. That's where they'll reside.
Uh-huh.
But we'll be pulling them directly from the announcements, from the application itself.
Got it. Okay. All right. Just I'm trying to capture like the card and then what it is that we're, the action item or the note or whatever. So on all of them, I have core program grant or, whatever application card. And then for the secondary documents and then this other template, I have the announcements card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Kirsten, can we touch base tomorrow morning sometime just to make sure I've got the right details for the list elements in for this wireframe?
Yes.
I'm thinking specifically the change group, where we say we're going to change it to cancer control, change global, intramural, and then the divisions. I want to make sure we have all those pieces set correctly.
Okay.
So
yes. Can you scroll back up to that one where that is going to be?
That was going to be right here, the announcement.
The announcement lead, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then you were going to get me the updated list of cancer control areas. Oh, not cancer control.
Cancer type?
Cancer focus.
Yep, cancer focus. Yes, and I have that on this list here.
Okay.
And then division. Yeah, I need to run the announcement lead list by Knock and Laquita. Laquita, are you still on the call?
No.
She was in that.
I think she wouldn't.
Oh, she was on with them. Okay. Announcement lead, cancer control, intramural division. Yep, I will double check that.
Okay. All right, great. Let me get started. And let's touch base. Kirsten, let's touch base in the morning.
Yes, and then go ahead.
Kenita, I'm sure you'll be touching base with Bobby in the morning.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get a good spec by the end of the week.
Excellent work.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.